Chunky. 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 Plump, plump, chunk, 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 plump, chunky, chunk. Oh, plumpy. Greetings and welcome to DreamWorks.
Oh my gosh, you guys, if you could see the waveform.
A DreamWorks podcast starring a happily unemployed photographer barely getting by on DoorDash, a disgruntled ex-journalist now writing Scott Pilgrim fan fiction, and a spineless, asthmatic 26-year-old curmudgeon sweeping movie theaters for a living.
Not 26 for much longer.
That's right.
Yeah.
And today's episode, we have another sequel. Came out in 2008 in November. Madagascar, Escape to
Electric
Africa.
Boogaloo.
Yes.
You know what? You gotta admit, Madagascar has the most unique titles.
It does.
It really does.
Africa.
Two.
We probably mentioned this in the first one. Raise your hand if you thought this would be a franchise after the first movie. Like, literally, like, you put your hand down.
Okay.
Did you think, like, you were older than us when the first one came out. Did you ever think, like, this is getting a sequel?
I mean, you never look at a first movie like that and automatically think, "Oh, this is going to be a sequel."
I will
It's
say
not,
some of them.
but some of them get left on cliffhangers.
Well, yeah, that's true. But even like for like, I mean, you could like say like the first Indiana Jones and like, oh, that's a perfect movie. They don't need any sequels.
I feel like there are some.
Yeah, you would never like.
That's all I was saying.
I wasn't alive at the time that came out, obviously, but
I think some movies.
Oh, you're not.
As much as it. Shut up. As much
wasn't that like 77?
Which one?
The first
the very first one.
First
Was like,
Indiana Jones is 81.
81. Okay.
1981.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't alive then.
Darn, I thought you were that old.
My sister was. That's right, Lee.
Wow, way to add her.
Rated PG.
Indiana Jones? Actually, it was.
Actually, yes.
Actually, it was.
The first one.
Yeah.
Or was that art? That might have been art. Anyway, I'm just going to say sometimes first movies, while the story is complete and they don't lead into a sequel, I think when they get one, you're like, okay, that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
This is not one of those.
Well, I mean, but also think about it from a monetary standpoint. Just that song alone, how much money do you think they made
dear God,
on like soundtrack sales just from everyone wanting to listen to I like to move it.
But like they're just like they have singles raining from the sky and they're bathing in their dollar bills.
Just like the stakes in the first
movie. So wait.
Exactly like that. Exactly like that.
And somewhere Scrooge McDuck dives into his safe full of money.
Exactly.
Did that work? I feel like he just right on top.
We don't question DuckTales here.
Woo.
Anyway, without further ado, and again, spoiler warning, this is a 13-year-old movie. You've probably seen it, maybe not, but I want you to capture that magic of the viewing, whether it's your first time
There
or
is
not.
magic there.
Yeah. So without further ado, Madagascar, Escape to, zoom in on this, Jake, to Africa.
E.T. to home.
After having nothing to do in the titular country, Alex, Marty, Melvin, and Gloria all jump in a plane piloted by the penguins to get back to the zoo, the Central Park Zoo in New York.
Yeah, I think we all know.
Instead, they crash land along with King Julian and Maurice in Africa. Specifically where is never mentioned. And the movie fails to mention that Madagascar is, in fact, part of the African continent. So I guess we're not really escaping to Africa if we're technically already there.
Well, but Madagascar is an island off of...
It's part of the continent of Africa.
But it's still an island off of...
But why we're escaping to Africa? We're already in Africa.
We're escaping to the mainland.
So why didn't they make it escape to the mainland?
Because that's too many words!
So if we have to think this hard about the title...
I'm just saying, it's not...
There's maybe...
He's overthinking it. There's not that much
I'm not overthinking it.
Yes, you are.
I'm just saying this is already part of the
Escape, we're already in Africa.
But it's... Okay.
They could have just... You know what's easier? Two.
But there's no fun in just 2.
What about Kung Fu Panda 2?
Madagascar 2. By the way, we're in Africa.
We were already in Africa.
They were in Madagascar, an island off...
Which is part of
But
the
a country is different than a continent.
I realize
It's
that,
a country.
but it's not on the mainland.
A part of the continent of Africa. It's not part of the mainland.
That's what I'm saying!
Then why don't they say that?
But
You don't have to say that!
Why?
Because you're still escaping from an island to a bigger island that's called a continent.
But it's part of the continent.
No, it's not!
Yes, it is!
Yes, it is!
The continent is the land
Okay, I'm pulling up a
It's
map.
the land
No,
mass.
it is
I
the
know-
mainland.
I
How about all the Pacific Islands in Oceania? What about Indonesia? That's like a gajillion islands.
I'm very, very
Islands
much aware
are
of
part of continents. They're not part of
Okay,
mainland.
They're
here
continents.
is a map. Let's look.
While there, each animal connects with their roots, especially Alex, who finally reconnects with his long-lost parents. Each of the storylines decides to meander for a bit in the second act, until they all start to actually do something in the third, leading to a fun confrontation at a human-built dam, a result of the penguins stranding a bunch of New York tourists on safaris. But will our animals ever reach New York again?
No.
Did you watch the third one yet?
Of course
So
I
you
watched
know
the third one.
So you know already.
Which I would actually... Oh, I know we're talking about the second one right now. But I would like to point out...
All you wanted to do during the first one is talk about the second one. We finally get to the second one.
I can't help it. My
and now you
mind
want to
is...
talk about the third one.
Listen. Just let me get my piece out and then we can move on, okay?
Fine,
I would
go
like
for
to
it.
point out, the entire time they were in Africa, I forgot, geography-wise, that's attached to... It's attached to, like... Not Europe. Is it Europe? Is it attached to Europe? Like Egypt and like everything up there.
I don't know how to.
Attached.
I don't
And
know
so they
how
literally
to.
could just walk their happy.
Well, real
Do
quick,
I need to pull up
Dickey.
a map for him?
Listen.
Do you need a map?
It's been a long time
It's
since I've seen
attached
an
to
actual.
Asia, and then
That's what
there's
I'm
Gibraltar
Has
between
it-
Spain and Morocco. It's not technically connected. And I think
I think it's technically like
it
there's
is
like
not connected.
the land mass. Oh, here we're going back to land masses. The
No,
land mass
no.
of Africa is actually connected to the land mass of Asia or Europe or
yes,
that.
Asia,
Yes.
yes, Europe, no. Not technically.
I feel like
There's just
okay, but regardless, it's still attached to another mainland.
Audio
over-
listeners, we're pulling up a
over-
map right now
over
just
the
to prove
continent.
Dickey wrong.
And because of that, they easily could have walked themselves to an airport to get to New York, but they never did.
Wait. Hold up. Did they say where the plane crashed?
Never, right?
No.
I don't think
So
ever actually
they
specified.
Probably
they
like
could have crashed
Canada.
in one of the southern countries of Africa.
It could have.
In which case they could not.
Because they are out in the wild.
They can still walk north. All you do is go north,
So-
and you'll get to Asia. And
so
then you fly to New York.
Do you know how long the continent of?
It's an animated movie. They can make time whenever they want to.
But they crash landed right where his dad was. Why would they need to?
Which then begs, why do we have a third movie?
Because
At the
they-
end
Because
of the
they
movie,
needed
he's
a
reconnected.
circus.
They needed more money. They needed Chris Rock to sing that godforsaken song that gets stuck in my head every time I sing it. Which I will not sing it because
No,
it's
not
gonna
yet.
get-
We'll save that for
We'll
later.
save it.
Does anyone remember this coming out?
No. I barely remembered. I watched it 2 months ago.
I knew it came out, but well, no, did I see this in theaters? I think I did see this in theaters, but it's a part of my brain that I don't usually access. That's deep in the back.
The same part that knows geography.
Okay, Dickey. Here.
You really want me to look at this map right now?
I do.
You want me to
Really,
get
really.
up and-
You need to get up and
Oh
come
my
over
God.
here.
Okay, fine.
Okay. I'm going to be realistic with you here. A tiger, a zebra, a hippo, and a giraffe
You
walk
really
into an
Gonna
airport.
bring realism into this?
And then you have the opening to Call of Duty 2.
So I think we've established, after that break, Madagascar is part of the continent of Africa, despite what Dickey thought.
And that Africa is not, in fact, connected directly to Europe.
No.
Okay.
That's
okay.
it. We don't have to talk
I
about it
give
more.
up.
Moving on.
We're moving
Madagascar Escape. Madagascar 2.
Are you gonna reread the whole thing, or just
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying, back on track. So, I'll just say, when I first heard this was coming out, because I'd seen the first movie, I just wasn't excited. I'm like, whatever. But then my friend saw it in theaters and was like, hey, this was good. This was better than the first movie. And I was like, giving him this face, like,
it's a sequel
What?
to Madagascar? Are you sure about that, bud?
yeah, I was like, okay. And my parents had bought a DVD copy, and me and my friend watched it. This is months after it had come out of theaters. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, I'm like, this is actually pretty good. You know, and in hindsight, things change, but in that moment, I was surprised that, hey, Madagascar has a sequel better than the first one.
Made a lot of money too.
So, yes, it did. These movies make money. Like a lot of money.
Yes, they do.
So,
I'll let you finish.
yeah, I think we dive deeper into the characters.
Like I said,
in this one.
yes, we definitely do.
Yes. And especially the greatest character ever put to screen. What's his name?
Are you referring to Moto?
I like him big. I like him chunky.
Chunky!
Plumpy. You want to go next?
First off, I would like to, because you shouted out to Moto, let's shout out to the actor who plays Moto. Holy crap.
You forgot his name.
Will I am!
It's in
It's
the
in your
binder.
Oh, it's...
It's right there.
Man, even when he has his binder here,
it was ready, like, I'm like ready to go. Will I am, and it just...
it's right out of here. Right out.
Fell. It just flew out. Anyway, I'm just gonna get it out. That song, it hit me in a really special spot when I first saw this.
Did it speak to your soul?
It spoke to my soul.
Did it speak to your heart?
It spoke to my.
Did it make it go a flutter?
It made it go plumpy. Like I was feeling all the plumps.
Did it make you like them plumpy?
Oh, nice and plumpy.
Okay.
I can't explain it to you. Like even when this song came out,
It changed you.
it changed me.
It awoken something in you.
I became Moto. I became the chunky master.
The thick hippo.
The thick hippo. A thippo, if you will.
I didn't want him to say it. I didn't want him to say it.
You knew he was going to go that direction, and you said that. You knew what was coming next, and you said that.
He's a thippo. It sounds like Mike Tyson trying to say Zippo. It's a thippo.
I think we said all we needed to say about Madagascar 2.
Rated PG.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Jake, your thoughts?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Do you have any thoughts?
How do you follow that up?
I'm guessing you, even after watching this for the first time, I believe, you don't remember much of it, do you?
I remember I liked it more. I remember the story was more of a story.
That is true.
I remember being a little bit annoyed by the secondary characters more.
Yeah.
Like who?
It's Alex's story.
It's Alex's story, and they separate them. And once they separate them, it's kind of...
Yeah, like I think I said in the synopsis, it kind of meanders in the middle for a second while they're all, it's like, hey, let's check out all these people who are the same animals as us. We've never seen this. And then when it brings them back in for the finale.
And also, like, is it actually a real... what? I'm sorry, what?
I just saw like the way that like when they split them up and they kind of all did their own thing. I really did enjoy that. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm gonna love Gloria and Moto, but like also Melman, like thinking he was gonna die, like that, like
Melman as the doctor was kind of funny.
When you have David Schwimmer, the champion of being sad,
He's on that TV show that I can't remember.
Yeah, like it was Enemies, right? Isn't that what it was?
Something like that. I don't know.
Foes. Yeah.
There was some kind of saying that he always had.
I don't think there was a reunion of any sorts, was there? No.
There was. It broke the hearts of many, and not in a good way. And let's move on from that.
But regardless, David Schwimmer as Melman was a great casting. Actually, and letting him complain because that's what he does good It's just it makes my heart happy. It really does. Like, oh, I'm gonna die. I have the curse of the witch doctor. It's good stuff. And he's gonna sacrifice himself. Like, that's a lot. But
there was a lot going on in his story, too. There was like, I'm a witch doctor, but also I'm in love with Gloria, so I'm fighting.
Came out of nowhere.
Like, yeah.
No, they were hinting at those two having a thing in the first movie.
When?
But like
when? I don't remember.
Like, they would share like googly eyes. Like, he would always kind of like
googly eyes.
I feel like they hinted at least. Well, I mean, it's
they hinted at it in this one when at the beginning, when Alex first gets to the zoo when they're kids.
Yeah,
that's when they hint at it the first time. I don't remember in the first one. It
feels
like a retcon.
I feel like in the first movie they had to hint at it a little bit. I really feel like they did.
Maybe on the beach a little at like the very end.
Yeah.
But even so, like, there's just a lot going on in this. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe the stories were unbalanced for me. There's a lot going on in Alex's story. There's a lot going on in the giraffes.
Melman.
Marty doesn't really do much.
Marty's basically,
I will say Marty's
maybe I'm not an individual after all.
And then it just kind of gets solved by Alex saying, like, I know which one's you. I mean, the only one not facing you with a bite mark on his butt. You put there.
Yeah.
It was a bit of the weaker one of the four. But
well, and then Gloria's, I don't even, other than the Moto thing, I don't remember what's going on with Gloria.
That's pretty much it. It's just
she's just out there being a hippo, doing hippo things.
Doing hippo things.
And then,
Which, by the way, not to go off on another tangent, but have you seen the videos of hippos attacking boats?
Hippos are mean.
They are terrifying.
Holy crap! There's more hippo. Fact check me. I could be entirely wrong, but I believe there are more hippo deaths than shark deaths.
So of the four, I think that the one, I think we all agree, that doesn't really have as much of stuff going on as Marty.
Oh, yeah.
Which is sad because he's the one that starts the whole thing in the first movie.
I sort of think that that's why they did that, because he had a big focus in the first. So they maybe wanted to give the other two a spotlight.
But then we did say in the first one, it kind of shifts from him to Alex halfway through. Remember we talked about that?
It does.
So Alex kind of hijacks the whole series as the main character.
The thing that really bugs me about, and I don't know if it was intentional because there's kind of a couple things playing during Marty's story, but you know, Jake's fun animal facts for the day. Zebras, their stripes are unique to each zebra, like a fingerprint.
I mean, I could imagine.
So his stripes would very naturally be different than all of the other zebras that he's running with. The whole idea that you can't pick them out and that they all do the same thing.
Well, they all sound like it.
I feel
an army of Chris Rock.
I would say I feel so bad for these sound editors that had to sit in and just duplicate his voice. Oh my god, it's hard to listen to. It's a lot. I mean, he has a great voice, but like I could literally there were 50 Chris Rock voices going on at one time. Like, that was a lot.
I did really appreciate. This is getting off the subject of the four of them. I did really appreciate that the villain in this is not a sympathetic villain like we talked about.
No, that's right.
It's a very straightforward. You know, he's straight up like
he's just a mean dude.
That is Baldwin.
That is true.
And his mane looks like Alec Baldwin's hair.
Yeah, and he's like, no, why at the beginning? Why do you think you should be? Well, I'm better looking and stronger, or something like that. It was just like it was listing all the reasons. Like, yeah, that's the villain. They're not hiding it.
It's a precursor to Boss Baby.
This after they saw us, like, we can make that happen.
Well, first
we need to make
Santa.
A baby go through a window.
First, he has to be Santa in Rise of the Guardians. I think that's Alec Baldwin, isn't it? Looking in the packet.
I forgot about Rise of the Guardians already. That's a really
Didn't you just watch that?
No, a little bit ago at this point. It doesn't stand out.
Really?
Yeah, but he's Santa or North as he's credited.
I feel like
he similar like good Seth Rogen thing just keeps coming back to the studio. Which
I mean,
hey, it's a job and it gets the money. Yeah. Gonna do what he's gonna do.
Segueing though, I will say that opening flashback. That was actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and it takes quite some time for them to bring it full circle, doesn't it?
It's pretty serious. Like, they literally shoot his dad.
Like,
They get him in the ear, sure, but still, like, they shot him.
It was sad. Like, I was like, I mean, I know what you're going to say when I say this, but I almost cried.
Let's say it. You cry at everything.
I'm an emotional person.
But
this knows that it tugged the heartstrings, and it tugged at it very well. I felt sad for him when I saw him get carried away, and I got sad for him when he was beat up by an old lady. Like, that's a hard thing to go through.
You didn't laugh at that?
Oh, yeah, I laughed at that.
Okay.
Obviously. But
in Tokyo. I just love. I'll talk about that scene. I was dying during that scene. Like he's running after the Jeep, and you. And she starts punching him. He grabs her, throws her out of the Jeep, and they just start punching each other. Start going for it. It's like, I thought, oh, she's just gonna beat up the first time. Oh, she's just gonna beat up on him. No, they're going
punch for punch. Like, blah, blah,
she knocks out one of his teeth. He knocks out her false teeth. He's gonna rock on her.
I didn't know.
And then she gives him a nice boot.
Oh,
and Marty goes right in the batteries.
Right.
That being said, wasn't it weird how the humans actually had like their own major subplot?
Like, yeah, like
and it factors in, but every time they cut to it, it slows everything down.
But it seems like it seems unnecessary until the end where you realize,
it has a point.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
It just slows the pacing down, especially in the middle when not a ton is really happening yet.
Yeah,
you almost feel like they could have dropped one of the storylines. There's a lot in that movie. There's, Alex and his dad. There's the bad guy part of the plot, which ties into Alex and his dad. There's all of the three other side stories, and then
dying.
And then there's the humans, and then there's the penguins.
Yep.
With chimps building the plane or helicopter.
It's a really decently constructed plot. Like, besides the fact it slows down as a little meandering in the middle, it's well put together. When you get to everything kind of does converge at the end where why is there no water? Oh, it's because the humans dammed up the river off the reserve.
Like, that really was like, I applaud the writers, because like that's like, I mean, that's Chekhov's gun writing 101. Like, you don't think about it. You see the, and you're just like, what the heck are they going to have to do with it? Like, it's about these guys. Like, what are they going to do? And then all of a sudden, they're doing the deal. Oh, it all connects. Like, I like the way that they connected all of that at the end.
I will say, there's still those cringy moments. Even as a kid, and even now, I cannot watch the scene where he's supposed to fight the big lion, and he starts dancing. And it's Ben Stiller being Ben Stiller, which is fine, but he just keeps going. And as a kid, I'm like...
He's like, oh no.
And even now, I'm like...
It's supposed to be cringy. It's not bad,
but it's hard to watch. It's one of those hard-to-watch moments.
It's supposed to be cringy.
Also, why doesn't Alex's mom have a name? Like, literally in the credits and on IMDb, it says Mom.
Really?
They don't give her a name.
Wow.
Not really an important piece of the plot, maybe?
Well, I know it's not important, but still, give her a name, for God's sake. Oh my God, I didn't realize. What is this?
Yeah, but they did have perfect casting for his dad, Bernie Mac, which I think this was a posthumous release.
Was it?
Yeah, I think he died that year, and this is later in the year, so.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just really sad. I remember him dying.
What year did this come out?
2008. Mm-hmm. I think he died earlier in the year, so it's just sad, but this is one of his last couple movies, so.
And honestly, he did good in it, so.
So it makes sense why in the third one he's not in it, of course. You not want to recast, but when we get to the third one, the whole point of like, they seem to be content with where they are at the end of this movie. Like, why don't we just stay here? Like, it's a reserve. We have all these animals that are like us, and we're all still together. Like, I remember thinking, like, yeah, we don't need a third one. And then the third one comes out, and you go,
what are they going to do?
That is what's weird about this trilogy, is that all the movies are very neatly wrapped up at the end.
Yeah, it feels different.
They're content on Madagascar at the end of the first one, right?
Yep.
And they're content at the end of the second one on the reserve.
And then, of course, the third one is the end of the story for those four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting playing it back to when we were talking about Kung Fu Panda. in talking about how like this works as a trilogy. It feels a little more clunky because of that.
It feels, I think we said it for the first one, it feels like the Star Wars sequel trilogy, which we mentioned in the Kung Fu Panda. So it really does. It's got to be Madagascar makes that much money. Oh, let's make another one.
So,
okay, and then they kind of,
I mean,
later,
let's just throw this out there.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars is some of the best trilogy work out there. Actually, it encompasses all of like the spectrum of good to bad for trilogy work. So it's really easy to compare to. It's also something that most everybody knows.
Yeah.
So it's easy to compare to. That's one thing I will say about like just, I know we talked about how the writing was good for Madagascar too. I remember thinking as I was watching it before it all started to move towards each other, it sort of started to feel like a segment movie sort of thing. Like I was kind of watching an episode of Looney Tunes.
Bunch of little vignettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I could see that. And that's...
Well, just because all of them were so different. And it was just all over the place. And not as all over the place as some of the other DreamWorks movies, but still all over the place.
Like, go ahead, sorry.
I sort of think that Madagascar is kind of the template that DreamWorks uses when they want to be all over the place.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I have to wonder if that is like...
Because it's the first one that really did it, right?
Yeah.
Give me a second here. You can keep talking, but I want to look back and see if there's any other movies that would have...
It is another example of a DreamWorks movie that has a really strong third act that I guess I'll say saves it for this one, because if that third act is not as good, it's kind of all right. Like the beginning is good.
Yeah.
And then the middle, as we've talked about, but then if that third act does not deliver and wrap everything up, I think that third act saves the movie for sure.
It does. And also, you were totally right. It literally is like the first DreamWorks movie that really spreads them all out and then brings them back together.
I remember, I remember us talking about in the first one where we said this is kind of the first one where they start to lean into the more crazy, like it's kind of a hybrid, like let's see how far we can push this. They figured out that they could, and then like let's do this for every movie now.
Let's just go wild and zany. Everyone loves wild and zany, right?
I mean, I do love seeing that baby thrown through the window and leaving the little Looney Tunes like baby thing.
In Boss Baby.
Yeah.
That's not a Madagascar.
Nor is it in any live action film.
Good. Let's not throw babies through windows, maybe.
That I will say that part of Boss Baby, that first time, he like throws him and I go, and he smashes. And it's not like it's like this hard hit. And I went, did we just throw a baby through? Oh my gosh.
I still have to sit through that. That's just...
I don't.
Don't say anything.
I
don't want to talk about it right now.
You gotta say it.
Well, I really want to talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. We all kind of died.
I kind of just kind of winged it, and I'm like, okay, yep. So I'm just thinking, what else did I write down?
I mean, we kind of like touched on the majority of it.
The feel of them also, like we've talked about, each one's a separate thing, but that first one relies so heavily on that physical humor and all those references. There's a lot less references, and the animation's better because it's been a couple years, but also it's less snappy and it's moving in a different direction. I think each movie kind of uses it differently.
And then they decided to go the complete opposite direction
for that third one and just throw every color there and have elephants sit on people. Yeah, that's in the movie.
It is. I mean, that third movie is...
It's been a while since I watched the second one here. Remind me, did they like replicate or mirror in the last act the memory in the beginning where Alex is getting taken away from? Wasn't there a scene where like they were taken... He was chasing after a truck with like his dad or his mom on it or something like that?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they did that. Which actually would have been smart if they would have like bookended it that kind of way.
I thought that they did for some reason. Or
he does have to go off the reserve again.
The humans capture him.
Oh,
and they're going to cook him, and his dad comes and saves him.
He gets banished. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was earlier. Him and his parents were banished.
Yeah.
For what was it? For 1,000 years or life, whatever comes last.
He's a good villain. He hands it up. That's why he fits so perfectly in that.
And King Julian still makes me laugh a lot. I love
When does King Julian not make anybody
the
laugh?
plane is diving and put your arms in the air and they shoot out, sucked out the window. It's the parachute. I can fly.
I can fly. I can fly. I can fly. I can fly. I can fly.
Him also trying to whistle. I'm getting pretty good. Just that whole thing. That's pretty good sacrifice. That whole back and forth with himself.
Oh my god, you just made me forget. Mort.
Oh, here we go.
Mort and like the shark. Wasn't there a shark that kept following him? Like through the entire...
He'd be singing and then
just all of a sudden... King Julian!
I was waiting for that. Another Twilight Zone reference, of course, where Alex looks out the window of the airplane.
Yeah.
And Mort's, gremlin! Oh, hi, Mort.
That was a good one. That was a
Again,
really
the
good
opening
one.
with the plane is really good.
It is.
Like, Marty, you're the best pal. I just wanted to let you know, I broke your iPod.
What?
Just, the buttons were a little small. I was getting very angry. So, I'm going to kill you.
It was...
And of course, the penguins again, great. When they...
I mean, they're always entertaining. They are.
When they hijack the Jeep and... Is she dead? No. And they put it back in drive and they hit her. It's clean.
Not too many people can take her out, but the penguins sure can.
Can't you see these commies have my hands tied? The photos of him with the bobblehead.
What? Oh my god, him with the bobble. Like,
the bobblehead's head gets shot off. It's medic with the tape.
I forgot the bobblehead.
I don't even think the bobblehead is in the third one. Like, they left with all the money for the honeymoon and to go to Monte Carlo. And I don't think we see the bobblehead.
I don't think we do. But it still reminded me of the whole strike with the gyms. Having to deal with all of that.
And then another Planet of the Apes reference. I'd like to kiss you now, monkey. Okay, but you're so darn ugly. Wow, that was good. That was pretty good. I didn't think I could do it. So yeah, 2 movies in a row. Twilight Zone references and Planet of the Apes references.
Well, I mean, why not, right? Why not?
I mean, with all the other stuff that you're doing in that movie, yeah, why not?
So there really is a lot going on, which is the opposite of the first movie where we get there, we get to Madagascar.
You gotta wonder
if nothing really happens.
You gotta wonder if like the writers got some feedback that was happening in the first one.
Oh, we said Katzenberg wasn't too happy with the third act of the first one.
Yeah.
So it was, okay, we gotta make we gotta up the ante.
So they're like, let's just like, everything.
We just have like the
my
had a stroke there
down there.
Do you smell toast?
Only a little. I was just gonna say, it's like the. Oh my god!
It's like the Charlie Day meme.
Yes, the Pepe Sylvia, and like they have like the strings. That's what I was trying to say. The strings connected to all the things, and like that's where like the story beats, and it's just all over, and it just goes together, and it's a lot, and it's cool, and I enjoyed it.
So can I say now that I sort of hate that I knew exactly what he was talking about?
Yes,
we're just on that wavelength. We just get it.
Ooga booga booga booga.
I was going to say, I still find it funny. Out of the 3 movies together, which is like 4.5 hours altogether, we're only on the titular island for like 30 minutes.
That's true.
Because it's like the last act of the first movie and like the first 5 minutes. Like we're barely there.
But it's still Africa, right?
Yes, we don't need to go into this again.
Do I need to show you another map?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Just checking.
I got it.
I know it's been a long time since you've been in geography class.
Listen, last time I studied geography was like 8th grade.
Oof.
You didn't study any in high school?
Why would I? I didn't have to. It was you can just do whatever size classes you want. Like you can just pick and choose kind of thing.
This is why you're barely getting by with DoorDash. That uses geography.
Well, yeah, but I have Google Maps. Google Maps is a godsend. I can't just use...
I guess it is better than Apple Maps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the other one? MapQuest or something?
Nobody uses MapQuest
People would
anymore.
use it on trips. And they say, like, this is what MapQuest said. And I'm sitting here like, Google Earth, Google Maps, whatever it is now, has been a thing for, like, why would you not use that? Why are you using MapQuest?
I didn't even use MapQuest when it was new.
Keep going down this tangent for a second.
I didn't even drive at that time.
We had to print them out. We had to print out directions to get places. Why was that a thing?
Before that, they had like atlases and like map books
where they maps. Like they actually
put their finger down the road and look where you are.
I could not imagine having to do that. I would end up in like.
Yeah,
don't even name a place. You can't even name a place.
I was gonna say, do you even like without a phone, would you be able to get around at all?
Yes, I really would. Not great, not very far, but I could get from here to my house.
Someone better call Sam and ask.
I can get from here to my house very easily. I can get from my house to my parents' house very easily. I know the basic routes.
I believe him.
I do. You drive a path enough, even a mouse learns how to find cheese.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you must have been alive, but you couldn't have been very like conscious before mapping programs were a thing.
Oh no, believe me, I remember having to deal with my parents like, print out the directions. Let's print out the directions on how to get there.
When it was me, it's my dad and I go up north. He's like, yeah, how about you? He knows the way, but get out the map book, okay, like the Michigan one.
I never had to do the actual map. It was always map.
Now follow along where we're going, and I'd follow along the whole 3-hour trip.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
But again, he knew the way. He's just having me, 7, 8-year-old me. I thought it was fun.
My dad.
You know what really is tricky? Mapping our way back into talking about Madagascar too. Look at that segue, kids! Woo!
Man, that sound wave is as thick as the hippo.
Sorry for anyone's ears that I just blew out with that clap.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, oh man.
Do we have anything else to say? We basically said it.
It's a good movie. Like
it's the best. It's the best of the 3.
Yeah.
So far,
it is not the best of the franchise, but it is the best of the 3.
We still have to talk about the Penguins movie eventually. Which, I thought it was going to be a little more of a gap between this and the Penguins movie, but we've been talking pretty positively about this. So it might be a little closer than we think, but still.
See. It's interesting because you had to watch the third one in between the two. I think that's why you might think that's a problem. But the third one is going to be a whole lot of fun to talk about.
Oh, dear God.
What a movie.
It was colorful.
It was pretty.
It was definitely neon.
Oh, very neon.
Is that a segue then to what the next movie is?
Ooh, well played.
Because we already summed up our thoughts. Best of the trilogy. Meandering middle, but good start and pretty good, well-written third act. Mm-hmm. Still pretty funny.
It really
relies less on references.
Yeah, which I dug because
it's.
I know it dates the movie a little bit more when it is all on references, but it is what it is. I enjoyed actually.
It is. It says something to it. Well, it should say something to you when you remove pop culture references from a movie and. Its quality goes up.
That's true. Exactly. All right.
So that was Madagascar, Escape to Africa.
That it was.
And next time.
What's up next?
We'll be discussing
a
movie that came out in 2009.
I forgot about that movie.
Monsters vs. Aliens, which that right there tells you a lot. I forgot about it. I didn't forget about it, but I forgot most of what happened. And it's going to be an interesting one to talk about. I think we might be a little more different on our views on this one, but
I can see that.
We'll have to catch you next time. You want to give the social call? Call out, shout out, whatever.
Once again, if you're not following us yet, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever you possibly use. We're on it. Just at Off Slate Media. Always putting out good stuff. Just come enjoy the party.
Yep. And and you're already listening on YouTube, also Spotify, Google.
Yep. YouTube, Spotify, Google.
Bunch of stuff.
Apple at this point, whatever, we'll try to punching it out everywhere you possibly can. So like and subscribe and enjoy the channel. Enjoy our fun.
And for Off Slate Media, we'll see you next time.
See you again.
Bye.
Bye. I was hoping Sam go dress shopping today.
Whoa.
Congratulations!
No! Someone else's wedding!
so much as utter one syllable. I'll hunt you down and cut you like a fish. If you'd like to fax me, press the star key.